few years ago, the Columbian Law School admitted colored students, but in deference to the southern white students, the authorities have decided to exclude them altogether. Some time ago, a young woman who had already attracted some attention in the literary world by her volume of short stories entered an advertisement which appeared in a Washington newspaper, which called for the services of a skilled stenographer and expert typewriter. The applicants were requested to send specimens of their work and answer certain questions concerning their experience and their speed before they were called in person. In reply to her application, the young colored woman received a letter from the firm stating that her references and experience were the most satisfactory that had been sent, and requesting her to call. When she presented herself, there was some doubt in the mind of the man to whom she was directed concerning her racial pedigree, so he asked her point-blank whether she was colored or white. When she confessed the truth, the merchant expressed deep regret that he could not avail himself of the services of so competent a person, but frankly admitted that employing a colored woman in his establishment in any except a menial position was simply out of the question. Not only can a colored woman secure no employment in the Washington stores, department, and otherwise, except as menials, and such positions, of course, are few, but even as customers, they are not infrequently treated with discourtesy both by the clerks and the proprietor himself. Although white and colored teachers are under the same Board of Education, and the system for the children of both races is said to be uniform, prejudice against the colored teachers in the public schools is manifested in a variety of ways. From 1870 to 1900, there was a colored superintendent at the head of the colored schools. During all that time, the directors of the cooking, sewing, physical culture, manual training, music, and arts departments were colored people. 6 years ago, a change was inaugurated. The colored superintendent was legislated out of office, and the directorships, without a single exception, were taken from colored teachers and given to the whites. Now, no matter how competent or superior the colored teachers in our public schools may be, they know that they can never rise to the height of a directorship, and can never hope to be more than an assistant and receive the meager salary therefor, unless the present regime is radically changed. Strenuous efforts are being made to run Jim Crow cars in the national capital. Representative Heflin of Alabama, who introduced a bill providing for Jim Crow streetcars in the District of Columbia last winter, has just received a letter from the president of the East Brooklyn Citizens Association endorsing the movement for separate streetcars and sincerely hoping that you will be successful in getting this enacted into law as soon as possible. Brookland is a suburb of Washington. The colored laborer's path to a decent livelihood is by no means smooth. Into some of the trade unions here he is admitted, while from others he is excluded altogether. By the union men this is denied, although I am personally acquainted with skilled workmen who tell me they are not admitted into the unions because they are colored. But even when they are allowed to join the unions, they frequently derive little benefit, owing to certain tricks of the trade. When the word passes round that help is needed and colored laborers apply, they are often told by the union officials that they have secured all the men they needed because the places are reserved for white men until they have been provided with jobs, and colored men must remain idle unless the supply of white men is too small. And so I might go on citing instance after instance to show the variety of ways in which our people are sacrificed on the altar of prejudice in the capital of the United States, and how almost insurmountable are the obstacles which block his path to success. It is impossible for any white person in the United States, no matter how sympathetic and broad, to realize what life would mean to him if his incentive to effort were suddenly snatched away. To the lack of incentive to effort, which is the awful shadow under which we live, may be traced the wreck and ruin of score of colored youth. And surely nowhere in the world do oppression and persecution based solely on the color of the skin appear more hateful and hideous than in the capital of the United States, because the chasm between principles upon which this government was founded, in which it still professes to believe, and those which are daily practiced under the protection of the flag, yawn so wide and deep.